What's up guys, I hope you're all doing well today. Day 2 of the Esports World Cup knockouts was absolutely stacked. MOUZ battled through 3 maps to send Virtus.pro packing, the Mongols had to grind past 3D Max to make back-to-back semis, and Vitality stomped TYLOO behind a monster ZywOo performance. On top of that, Falcons punched their ticket to the quarterfinals as well. So starting off with Falcons versus G2, and Falcons kicked off their Esports World Cup run with a 2-0 over G2, and the big story here was Nico finally looking back to his best. The Bosnian star hasn't been himself lately, sitting around a 1.03 rating over the last 3 months, but today he topped the server with a 95 ADR series and led Falcons past his old team. MongolZ showed up too with a 1.29 rating, and that star duo was enough to carry Falcons through despite the series being a real scrap. Ancient was messy from the start. Falcons threw away anti-force rounds and even dropped some 2v4s, while G2 managed to win an eco off the back of a MOUZ MD Deagle. But every time G2 looked like they might flip momentum, Nico and MongolZ answered right back, including this clip we're looking at right here, and Falcons closed it 13-9, but it was far from clean. Train was more of the same, chaotic back and forth, MOUZ MD nearly pulling off a 1v2 after a 4k, heavy god turning impossible situations into rounds, but when it really mattered, Falcons had the firepower, and they closed it out 13-7. On the G2 side, the real concern is Sumpires. His start in this roster has been rough, and Ancient was a new low with just a 0.41 rating. He recovered a little on train, but overall finished with just a 0.69 across the series. If G2 want to go deep at this event, they need way more impact from him. Falcons walk away with the win here, but the same old questions remain. This team is stacked with playmakers, yet the games are still way too scrappy. They'll need more control if they want to survive against the heavy hitters waiting later in the bracket. Then we head over to MOUZ versus Virtus.pro, and MOUZ are through to the quarterfinals, sending Virtus.pro home in a scrappy 3-map series. Virtus.pro came in swinging on Inferno, their map pick, and it was all about pace changes on T side. Electronics calls were on point, and MOUZ had no answers, and VP closed it out 13-6 with relative ease. But then came Mirage, and it was the Spinks show. He pulled off a ridiculous 1v3 clutch early, then completely locked Virtus.pro out with another multi-kill hold at B. MOUZ rolled over Virtus.pro 13-4, barely breaking a sweat. That set up a decider on overpass, and this one finally delivered some back and forth. Jim Fat started things with a pistol round triple, but it was Spinks again who stepped up on T side, dropping 26 kills with a 1.84 rating, as MOUZ edged it out 13-10 to take the series 2-1. For Virtus.pro, ICM Flame put up solid numbers, +8 and a +3, with a 1.22 rating and a 1.19 rating for Fame and Icy there. But Perfecto looking pretty invisible this series, and Flint couldn't make the difference either. Over on MOUZ, TYLOO had a respectable series. Quite a little bit quiet, but with Spinks engine fat firing, that was enough to get the job done, with Spinks dropping a +15 and a 1.18 rating. MOUZ move on to face Falcons now in the quarterfinals, while Virtus.pro are out of Riyadh. That leads us to the Mongols versus 3D Max, and the Mongols are back in the Esports World Cup semi-finals after grinding out a 2-1 win over 3D Max. Ancient kicked off with 3D Max looking sharp early, but once the Mongols had rifles, it was over. ZywOo absolutely farmed them with a 2.25 rating and a perfect 5-0 opening duel record, leading a 10-round streak that killed all French momentum. Techno then closed it out on T side with some big multi-kills to make it 13-9. And then on Inferno, 3D Max punched back. They started strong, lost momentum after a pistol round upset, but recovered late. Exercise and Maka made the difference as they held their nerve in the chaotic late rounds to push it to a decider, 13-9. That brought us to Nuke, and the Mongols looked much more composed. They stormed to a 9-3 T-side lead, with Blitz and 9-10 both causing havoc. Lucky tried to spark a comeback for 3D Max with impact frags on CT, but Techno and Blitz shut the door with back-to-back rounds to seal it 13-8. For the Mongols, Techno is absolutely unstoppable with 57 kills, a +22 and a 1.36 rating. Blitz with a 1.41 rating and NA plus 11, 910 plus 9 and a 1.21 rating, and Senzu with a plus 7 at 1.14. Mizzino having a bit of a bad series here, but all in all, MongolZ doing a really great job with a dominant fashion. Body not really having the greatest of series, minus 24, 0.62 rating, and Gravity with a minus 19 and 0.80 rating. Pretty bad stuff there. But that's the Mongols moving on to the semis, one step away from their second straight grand final, while 3D Max bow out after an impressive underdog run. And to round up the day, Vitality crushed TYLOO 2-0 to lock in their spot in the Esports World Cup semi-finals. And honestly, it never looked in doubt. On Inferno, Messi kicked things off with early multi-kills before ZywOo completely took over. He dropped a ridiculous 2.69 rating with 8 multi-kills, a clutch, and a plus 25 KD. TYLOO had no answers. Jamyoung especially went missing with just 2 kills in the whole map, and Vitality breezed through 13-4. And then Nuke started with a surprise. G absolutely bodied Vitality with the op, opening 12-2 to give TYLOO a 5-0 lead. But the second gun came out, Flames and ZywOo flipped the switch. Flames cracked sights open, 1 clutches, and Vitality ran off 6 straight to take the half. Once they swapped, ZywOo was back in full control and combined with Flames to close it out 13-8. For Vitality, ZywOo absolutely untouchable with 44 kills here, a plus 25 and a 1.94 rating. Flames had huge impact as well, plus 6, a 1.45 rating. And Rops doing what Rops usually does, plus 10 and a 1.07 rating. And Mezzi and Apex putting up respectable numbers. For TYLOO, G was the lone bright light here, and the rest of them kind of just got rolled, but it's kind of what you expect from Vitality. But yeah, Vitality now move on to face the Mongols in yet another chapter of their growing rivalry, this time a grand final spot on the line. Before we end things, I just wanted to show the bracket so far. So yeah, tomorrow we will have MOUZ versus Falcons and Aurora versus Heroic to wrap up the second half of the quarterfinals, and then Vitality versus the Mongols in the semi-finals, and whoever wins out of MOUZ versus Falcons and Aurora versus Heroic will then match up against each other on the Saturday too. But yeah, that wraps up day 2 of the Esports World Cup. Big names are already gone, and the semi-finals are starting to take shape, and it's only going to get crazier from here. Hit the subscribe and a like, I would greatly appreciate it, and as always, thanks for watching. Take care.